Oh, we are on.
Hi.
Hi.
Yes.
So welcome back and to our episode with video and everything. This is Manelli Talks
In our studio.
in our studio. And can I just start off with giving a toast to all of you as a thank you, all of you people,
Thank
wonderful,
you.
beautiful people who tuned in and listened to our first ever episode, the pilot. You have been amazing. Such great support. I'm sorry, I forgot
I'm thirsty
to-
already. Okay, I'm so.
Okay, cheers to that, and I'll continue afterwards. Chin chin.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Sweet. I
Yum.
mean, the response has been amazing.
Absolutely brilliant. I was so surprised.
Yeah,
I didn't expect that. We were super nervous.
we were.
Well, yeah. I mean, we were checking the views on YouTube and on Spotify all the time.
Yeah, we were following the numbers, like going up, 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 up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And then since actually many of you said, why don't you girls have it with video as well? But to be honest, we were talking about it before already.
We
so.
did mention that eventually it was going to be video on this as well. And here we are.
Here we are. So for those who are listening this podcast on Spotify, now you can actually see it on YouTube with video. So then you can look at us when we talk. And you can appreciate our beautiful studio. First of all, I must say thank you. What did we say we're going to call this beautiful flower?
Simone.
Simone. So this is a flower called Simone because it's from our friend
Seaman.
Seaman. He gifted this to us, so thank you.
Thank you. Shout out to Seaman for this.
Shout out to Seaman. And the sign that Eleanor actually made. But my fiance, Goddess, thank you very much for drilling the hole in for us. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, okay, so we didn't have the tools. We would have been able to do it ourselves because we are fully independent women. So, I mean, I just want to point that out. It's just that we didn't have the tools, so we needed a good man of goddess. Yeah, the good man.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
I almost hit my head now and I just like...
Anywho, so also last week where we left off at the last episode, we left off at saying that we're going to talk a little bit more about New Zealand in this episode because we both went there and we have similar but also very different experiences about the whole thing actually. So
Actually, very different, I would say.
yeah, I'd say
Because when we talked about it just briefly, I feel like the only thing that we had similar or the same was that we were in New Zealand. So
we went to the same country.
we went to the same country.
And it ends there. No, but how did you get to this? Like, why New Zealand? What was the
New Zealand. This is such a big topic, and also it was one of my dreams. I remember when I was a child. I don't remember how old I was, and I was. We used to have the old computer, like the table computer with the huge
stationary
monitor,
the stationary.
stationary wagon.
Yeah.
No, like the old computer, and then I was looking there, and I saw the picture of New Zealand, and especially Hobbiton in New Zealand because that's where Lord of the Rings were shooted.
Yeah, and you had seen all of them, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. I'm not like a fanatic, but I'm a fan.
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw that and I was like, wow, like, where is that? And then I found out it was New Zealand. Then I found out where New Zealand was because I was a child. So then I found out it was on the other side of the globe. And I was like, okay, well, obviously I will never go there. Like, how on earth? And we are talking, I was 8, 9, 10 max. I don't know. 10. Okay, 10. Let's make it 10. And then I was like, no, it's not possible. And then ever since I was kind of thinking about that particular picture from Hobbiton, the beautiful green grass, like the greenest grass that you can imagine, like the perfectly cut it and stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Just like the Teletubbies too.
Yeah. But the kickoff for me, like what made me actually go, I'm not going to go obviously deeply into anything, but when I was living in England, I just felt like, do you know what? That's it. I need to change it. I need to change the country,
Change the scenery.
The scenery. Let's just change the scenery. And then I was thinking, like, where am I gonna go? And back then I was deciding either starting as a cabin crew in Dubai, working for Emirates, which was one of my... Yeah. And I actually went for the interview, but that's another story that we can talk about it a little like later.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But so I was decided, and then they invited me finally after 2 years for interview, and also I got the visa for New Zealand because I decided, like, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna be cabin crew in Dubai, or will I go to New Zealand?
Okay.
So I applied for the job as a cabin crew, and I applied for the visa.
Okay. How did it go with that then?
With the visa?
Yeah.
Gosh. Like it was yesterday. The thing is, I'm not sure how you guys have it in Sweden.
Well,
But
I'm gonna get to that. But yes,
yeah,
go on.
no, but us people back then, now we're talking 4 years. Actually, 4 years exactly, because now all those Facebook memories are popping up. Like,
So 2020.
2020, like 4 years ago today. So I left 6th of January 2020.
Okay.
But I got the visa in 2019 because basically, and I will tell you how I got the visa. It wasn't as easy as you might think. And because as soon as you get the visa, you have 1 year to actually enter New Zealand.
Yes.
And that if you don't
Then
do
it
it within the year, it expires, and you can't ever in your life have the exact same visa ever again. So Sophie's choice I had to make then. Anyway, I found out on YouTube, and I was reading articles and stuff, like how to get the visa
Yeah.
as a Czech person, because it varies big time. Every single country has certain amount of visas that you can get. And we then, I don't know if it's the same now, but 4 years ago, we had 1,200. And Slovakia had 100. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. Okay, go on.
We had 1,200, Slovakia then had 100. And you have to go on a certain website. I guess it's some government stuff. You have to pick the country you're from. And you, as soon as, and they will tell you when they are going to open the pool, that you have to enter the pool,
Okay.
like electronical pool.
Oh dear Lord.
And the pool is open. They will tell you it's going to be the certain day and a certain hour. And back then with my friend, I was sitting and I was getting ready prior, like several days before I was practicing. I saw what the form that you have to fill up looks like. And I was practicing. I was quickly writing, like whatever. I was really going for it.
Yeah.
The day came and I was waiting. I had it open already like 1 hour before they're supposed to open it. I was nervous. I was sweating. Terrible. I remember it was terrible. And then I was still like in it already. And I think that's why I was lucky back then.
Yeah.
Because I was already like on the website 1 hour before. And I was practicing, blah, blah, blah. And then a few minutes beforehand, I was getting nervous. And then boom, they opened it. And all of a sudden, before everything worked absolutely perfectly, as soon as they opened it, the server was so slow because there was so many people from Czech Republic at the same time trying it. So what I knew before, it was like done. It wasn't like that anymore. So I was writing my first name, last name, whatever you have to fill up. Then you have to go on another page, and then it was loading.
The wheel of death, as my good friend Sarah calls it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good one.
It is, isn't it?
Good
Yeah.
one,
Well, I'm using it.
Absolutely good one.
Yeah.
So then I got to another page, and then again I fill it up, and then again next page, loading. The whole thing, it didn't take that long. It was 11 minutes, but it felt like forever because you don't know.
No.
And they also say if you will get to the payment, and then you will get to pay because you have to pay for the visa. So then you are actually kind of like safe, and you got it, but you can't be 100% sure anyway. So that process took 11 minutes. At some point, I got to the payment. I paid, and then I was like,
Did you get it?
did I get it?
Exactly,
Yeah. And then I was waiting, I don't know how long. And then I was checking my status on the government website. And at some point, it was approved. Yay! And I was like, oh my God. And the same day, just to say that a little bit, the same day when my visa got approved, I got invited for the interview
Oh, of course you
for the cabin
did.
crew, because before I've tried and they never even never.
They never
Whoa!
contacted you. Never. You
No,
never heard back from
they
them.
never considered me.
Wow.
And this time they did, and they invited me for interview.
I mean, what are the odds for that being the same day, though?
I know. I remember my dad.
Mm,
He said, "I hope you will not get the job," because he didn't want me to fly.
yeah.
And he's kind of afraid. Sorry, Dad. I know you're listening. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. So they didn't really want me to get the job because they would be afraid
Yeah.
um, for me. So
I mean, their parents is
yeah.
yeah.
But that was my process of like getting the visa. What about you, Sweden?
Well,
Going
Sweden.
back to Sweden.
Yeah, Sweden calling. Well, I mean, you did this 4 years ago. I did it quite a lot longer back than that. I did it in 2007 when I was applying for the visa for New Zealand. And obviously, since it's that far back, for one thing, there wasn't the whole timing pool where you'd have to wait and click on it. Being Swedish, it actually was a lot of advantages when you wanted to travel around the world. We had at least I don't know how it is now. It's been a while since I was traveling in that manner, but back then we really did have a good reputation all over the world as good travelers, I guess. And all the Swedes were backpacking everywhere, and so I mean it was easy to say it that way. And I mean, I just went into the website where you applied for the working holiday visa, and I applied for it, and that was basically it. I mean, yeah, you paid for it, yeah, but it didn't take that long to get a response though, and it was never a fight for it. It never crossed my mind. It was never anything. It was just I applied for it and I got it. Um. So yeah, I mean
That's so unfair.
that helped. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean it's being. I don't want. I mean, it is what it is, but it was, at least back in the days, being Scandinavian was, you had a little bit of an advantage there because we had a good reputation at the time. Again, I don't know how it is these days, but it used to be. But yeah, and for me, like how I decided to even go to New Zealand as
Sorry, I
well.
feel like the bubbles they just go up my throat. I hope it's not visible, like that people can hear it in the mic.
Well,
Sorry.
well, now they know about it.
Go on.
Anyhow, no, but it was well, my 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 inspiration to start traveling in the first place, aside from the fact that I always knew that I was going to be somewhere else, like I mentioned in the previous episode, where I always felt like I was going to be somewhere else. But I mean, I didn't always know exactly where I was dreaming of going. But I have an older sister. She's 6 years older than me, Vanya. Hello. And when she was in her late teens, well, for one thing, she moved away from home, like to the south of Sweden, which to me at the time was like, wow, that's really, really far, though.
Yeah.
She moved away from home while she was still in high school to study. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. Like, she's so independent. And then after she was done, she went to a kibbutz in Israel with her friend. And that was also like, wow, that's really, really cool. I didn't even know what a kibbutz was, but I mean, that was cool.
I didn't know until now. Until you just said it.
Yeah, well, a kibbutz is, well, lots of people will know about it, but it's a place where you go and you kind of, I mean, it can be a farm, and you have lots of people going there and you work for your accommodation. And it's just, having fun. It's usually people of a certain age going there, exploring. And like I seem to recall, like, one of the kibbutz that my sister went to, she actually went twice, but it was like a banana plantation or something like that, or oranges. I don't really recall. It's
Banana.
many, many years ago. But anyhow, so I thought it was really cool that she went.
Yeah.
And then she went to England, and then she went to Brunei, and then she went to Israel again, and then so she did a lot of things. And there I was in school and high school, thinking like, that is so cool. Like, she's she's out there in the world traveling. Like my
Doing all.
sister is doing this.
Yeah.
So that's how it kind of started, where I kind of wanted to do the same thing at the same age. And New Zealand came on the map because my late uncle Benny, he was the coolest. I mean, he was an inspiration. I didn't really know him that well growing up because he lived in Australia all of my childhood. And then he came for a visit when I was 18 years old. And that was like the second time in my life that I met him. And he was just, wow, you know? And the stories he could tell. I mean, that's a whole different story, though. Talking about my Uncle Benny, you guys need to hear that, but we're not going to go into that today. But he was the
I
reason.
like the name Uncle Benny.
Uncle Benny, yeah.
Ben and
yeah.
Jerry's.
May he rest in fun. But he lived in New Zealand. He was married to a New Zealand woman, Sue. Hello, Sue.
Hi, Sue.
And I kind of wanted to go and get to know him better as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided that, I'm just going to go down there and stay with him for a while.
Nice.
And that's how I got to New Zealand.
And that's how you got the accommodation, and so that was kind of
to begin with, anyways. I mean, because I was going to stay there for quite a while, but I only stayed for a week.
at his place.
At his place, yeah. I mean, the plan was to stay. He lived in Hastings at the time, and I was planning to stay in Hastings for a year for the working holiday visa. And then my auntie, Sue, his wife, she was like, well, Hastings is kind of like a sleepy town. After 6 o'clock, it just dies. Nothing happens. And you're young, so, maybe you should go to either Auckland or Wellington. And I was like, okay, well, do you not want me here? Kind of thing.
What's going on?
Like, I don't mind sleepy towns, but, and they're like, no, but seriously, like, you should go and have fun. Like, we're always going to be here and you can always come back, but, just go. And so we decided that I was going to be in Wellington because it was a little bit more artsy-fartsy, whereas Auckland is more like the big city kind of thing, where
That's where I was.
And I went to Wellington, so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I was just thinking when you were talking, I don't think I was in many places when I was in New Zealand, and we will get to that. But I don't think I was in Hastings.
No?
Anyway, I would like to also mention one thing, which is the actual traveling to New Zealand.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's just surreal experience. I know that many of you probably were in New Zealand already, so you probably know. But just for those who don't, before I left, not Czech Republic, but England, because I was living in England, and then I went to New Zealand. I, just so you know, I had to do the paperwork, first of all.
Yes.
So basically, if you would like to go at some point, all you need to do is the insurance, really, right?
Oh, the insurance, yes.
The insurance, that's all
yeah.
you have to do, I think. You just need to get the travel insurance.
Yeah.
Then you need to pack your things. I was going with 30 kilos I had the huge backpack, like the rucksack, like the huge one.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
Yeah, so when I was standing, I was kind of leaning back because that's how heavy it was.
Yeah, and if you strap it too hard, you can't breathe.
No. So then you kind of, when you walk, you have to be kind of bended, so then you can walk. So that was me. So then there was you too, yeah.
That was me too, yeah.
And have you ever heard about traveling? We call it in Czech like traveling flu.
Well, is it the same as travel fever?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So.
Yeah,
That's what
when
I
you're
meant.
nervous when you're nervous before going. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. Then I've heard of it. Yeah,
I've just translated it in my head like traveling flu, but yeah, fever.
Yeah,
that was the first time ever I've experienced it.
Yeah,
because I always thought like when people are nervous before they're going somewhere, it's like, oh, you're having a traveling fever.
Yeah.
No, this shit exists.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I went there alone. Again, as I went to England alone, I went to New Zealand completely alone. I didn't know anyone, anything, nothing at all. I just got the visa.
Yeah.
I worked super, super hard the year before I went, so then I've got enough money, got my insurance, packed my shit, I left.
Yeah.
But the night before, oh my God, I just saw the stories that I was videoing.
Yeah.
Because I have the flashbacks on Facebook now. And I was posting on Instagram, like, hey guys, I'm just leaving to New Zealand tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. I was like pretending like how cool I was.
Yeah. But you were dying inside.
I was shitting myself. And also, I genuinely got sick.
Really?
I got sick. Like,
Yeah.
I had fever,
Yeah.
high temperature, headache. I was sweating, hot flashes, cold flashes. I was actually sick.
Wow. Okay.
I was like sick. And I was like, fuck. And now I'm going to travel. Because I was so afraid, so nervous. Because when something goes wrong and you are in Europe,
Yeah. Then you're close.
you are close.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you are an hour or 2 hours away, like England, Norway, whatever. It's still close. But New Zealand is really fucking far away.
Oh, yeah.
And I was going there alone, not knowing what to expect at all.
Yeah.
It obviously turned out to be the best experience of my life. But I didn't know it back then. So, and then I woke up in the morning and I felt a little bit better.
Yeah.
Luckily. My best friend, she drove me to the airport. I was dying, crying. I was so nervous. But then I got on the plane, and then everything went away. I even have a picture on my Instagram when I took a selfie when I was sitting on the plane. It was such a good old times.
Isn't it kind of like when you're say bungee jumping or skydiving or just jumping from the tower in the swimming pool? You know.
Yeah.
It's like before you do it, it's terrible. But once you've let go of the ledge,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
fine. It's fine. You know, it's not. I've never actually had that.
That's what I asked you.
Yeah, no, I thought I'd had travel fever, but I mean, when you describing that now,
Yeah.
then no.
Yeah.
Then I've only had nerves, and I guess.
Yeah,
I never
no,
experienced
I
that.
had the actual thing.
Wow, that's crazy.
It is. And then I couldn't believe it, and I understood what it actually means.
Yeah.
And then I was sitting on the plane, and then when the plane starts moving, and you're like, there is no way back.
No.
Like, I'm flying.
You're
you know?
going there now.
I'm going.
Yeah.
Like, I can't just tell them, hey, stop, bro, and I'm just going up. No, I can't do that.
No.
So then, just to make a long story short, I was flying from England. Flying from England to Taiwan, Taipei. Then I had to wait several hours. I was so tired. I was going through so many, what's it called? The time zones?
Time zones, yeah.
I was going through so many time zones that I had no idea what was the time at that point.
But at least you were going forward in time. You were going like in the correct direction in time, going there.
Yeah.
Like you were going east. You were flying east.
I was flying east. So it was Taiwan, Taipei. Then I had to stay there for several hours just to wait for another plane. Then I was calling my mom, my parents, and I was crying because I was so like exhausted and scared and excited and everything, and I was just crying.
Yeah.
I'm a drama queen. and then I was flying from Taipei to Australia.
Yeah.
Apparently just to get petrol.
Aw.
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
And
you
then-
would be glad that they actually stopped for petrol then.
Yeah. So to Australia. So I was actually in Australia, but just at the airport. And then I landed in New Zealand. The whole thing took 33 hours. I left January 6th and I arrived. I don't even remember. I should have done my research
Well,
better.
January 6th plus 36 hours.
Yeah, but then you don't forget that you're moving back in time. So I don't know if
No,
I
you went
think
forward in time.
Did I?
Yeah, you went forward in time just like 36 hours later.
I'm gonna have to find the picture.
Yeah. See, that's where it differs from me because when I went, I actually went back in time and then I lost a day. So, like,
Oh, you're flying the other direction.
I went indeed. So I have actually sound or nor.
or no. What the hell? There's.
Never mind. No, but I had a day in my life that never existed. Like you all had it, I didn't. Well, everyone
missed
in
it.
my flight, I guess, never had it.
And people born after you didn't miss it either. So
Well, they did because they weren't born yet. So
okay,
they
so
missed
born
it.
after the day you left.
Anywho, so I flew from Stockholm, and it was September 10th, 2007, when I flew out. My nephew was just born. Hello, Trond. And and we were going. We were flying west, so we were going actually to LA. I was going Stockholm to LA. Landed in LAX. Went out, took a picture of the yellow cab, and called my brother and said, like Nikki Six has been here, something like that. I know.
Motley
I was
Crue.
like, I'm in the same continent, same country as Nikki Six. He's a huge fan, so I was like, okay. I went out, had a cigarette because I was smoking at the time, and I
Wait.
called my brother from LA, and then I went back on the plane, and we flew to Auckland. So 2 flights. But
Easy.
going back from America to New Zealand, you have to cross the date line. And so as I had been going back in time, and I kept flying through sunsets because I was going backwards, and that was actually quite pretty though. And
imagine.
I got to New Zealand, Auckland, on September 12th. So it was the 10th of September, 10th of September, 10th of September, just going back and back and back. And then all of a sudden, boom, it's September 12th. So September 11th, 2007,
Didn't exist.
to me, I've never had it. It never existed in my...
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
I will always be one day younger.
Yeah.
And that's also because, I mean,
You will.
I would have gotten the day back, I guess, if I were to fly east, like fly the same route back when I went back from New Zealand. But I flew back through Bangkok and then to Stockholm. So I completed the lap around the earth.
So so you went around the world.
I've actually flown around the world. Yeah, I have.
I don't think I
But
did.
that's how I never got the day back, though. So, yeah.
I was just thinking, since you kept saying that it was January or February, you said.
September.
Right. Okay.
Anywho,
I was listening. All right. I was
Yeah.
listening. Yeah. Because I was flying January, so sorry.
Oh, that's fine.
Because I was thinking when you said September 10th, 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 10th. So if you would have made some huge mistake in your life, you could have fixed it because you would like relive the September 10th all the time. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Why not? Because basically
No, but I mean, if I...
the day that's supposed to be 11
yeah.
could have been kind of the 10th again.
Oh, you mean so if I go back and then keep going the other way? But then that wouldn't work though. No. Because it kept going back in the sunsets and
Right.
then you have the date line.
Right.
I mean, the thought is nice though. The thought is nice to be able to like relive the day or whatever, but no, it's no. But I didn't have it.
No, well, that's interesting.
It is. Well,
It
I
is.
think so anyways.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so then we both landed in Auckland.
Yes. But
That
I mean,
sounds like
that's a common anyways.
Yeah, people usually do. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe all of them. I don't know. The big, huge international flights.
But you stayed in Auckland then when you came there. So you landed there and you stayed there.
Well, and there's also a kind of a funny story because I landed, and before I actually left England, before I went to New Zealand, I got somehow, because there are groups on Facebook. We have Czechoslovakian people in blah blah blah. Wherever you go, wherever you are.
Can I just add that we didn't have Facebook when I went?
Well, that's your
Because
problem, isn't it?
I became a member of Facebook at the hostel that I lived in Wellington. Because Facebook was new. I never heard of it
Atlas
before.
or something before you went or what?
I never heard of Facebook before I went to New Zealand, but that's a different story. Go on.
Okay, well, so then I joined the Facebook groups, Czechoslovakian people in New Zealand, or Czech Kiwis, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think there was someone who gave me a contact to Valhalla.
Ooh.
Valhalla.
Wrong side of the earth, though, but you know.
Yeah. But there was a place called Valhalla in Henriksen. Hi, Sydney. Sydney is the guy who runs the Valhalla.
Ooh.
And he's listening. I know you are. I know you are.
Shout out.
Shout out, Sydney. And so then I got contact to that Sydney guy in Valhalla. And yeah, well, I said it. I just like the way it sounds. Can I say it one more time?
Okay, cool.
Valhalla. Okay. Well, so got it out of my system. So then I kind of knew where I was going because then Sydney said, yeah, you can come. And I was like, is that easy? Like, we don't even know each other, whatever. I didn't know the place. I had no idea where I was going. But he said, yeah, you can come. And I was like, okay, cool. So I have place to stay, I guess.
Well, that
And
helps.
then and then he said that one of the girls, she will come and pick me up at the airport. So then Sydney said that I'm gonna have the pickup, and I was like, well, that's kind of cool.
Uh-huh.
So then the girl, she was waiting when I landed. So then she was waiting outside already, and then she called me, and then she said, "Hey, where are you? Because I'm standing in the queue of cars, and then I really, really, really like, come on, like we have to move on."
Yeah.
And I was so panicking, and then I also didn't say that I didn't have only the rucksack, the big one, but I also had a carry-on. So when she called me and she was rushing me outside, so then obviously I left the airport
Of course.
without the luggage.
Or no.
Or yeah. And then we were sitting in the car, and then we were driving to the hostel. It was full of people, and also it was a hostel with the beds inside, but
Yeah.
also a huge parking outside. And the cars, they were parked outside.
Yeah.
They were made into camper vans.
Yeah. Oh, I love those. You know, I always wanted to rent one of those when I was there, but I never did. I don't know. I didn't really go anywhere. But anyhow,
Shame on you, Eleanor.
I know.
You should have.
They
You
looked
should have.
awesome, and they had cool, like, graffiti and mottos on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they are great. But I had one of those. So then I went into one of those, and then I was unpacking. And then I was like, weird. Where's my laptop?
Oh, no. No.
Where's my charger? Where's everything that I had
Oh.
in my little carry-on?
No.
And then I was like, shit. And I left it at the airport in New Zealand.
Oh, no.
So then I quickly went to the girl, and I was like, hey. And it was like, we're talking like 2 hours after. It
Yeah.
wasn't like
Yeah, it's been a while.
straight. Yeah.
Where did you leave it? Like in the terminal or just in the airplane?
No, in the terminal.
In the terminal.
Not,
Okay.
not in the airplane, no. But yeah, so then, and she was like, okay, well, I'll drive you back. So then she drove me quickly, and then I went to the airport. It was kind of, I don't want to say closed, because they don't close their airports, but it was kind of like,
Well, they do close some
Ghost
of the
town.
stores, though. Like,
it was kind of like shut down and stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I don't know why. And then I was just running around, and I was like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do?
Aw.
And then there was one man, and then I asked him, and I was like, listen, I just left my luggage. And he was like, this one? And I was like, yes, that was the luggage. And he was like, are you crazy? We almost had the whole, what's it called? The evacuation, because they
The bomb
thought
team.
that I left the bomb there and stuff. And I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. Yeah. So then luckily, I think they opened it, or they just put it through the scan. I don't know what they did with it, but I got a big from the guy that I left, and it was black. It was small black hand luggage.
Oh. Wow. Okay. Well, quite the dramatic entrance then to New Zealand, I would
absolutely,
say. Yeah.
absolutely. But that sounds just like me. So
So, how long did you stay in a hostel though? Like, what was that like?
it was. I stayed for 3 or 4 months,
Oh, that long?
but I was traveling like outside. I just kept coming back.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Then I can tell you a little bit more about it.
Yeah.
But now I want to know, how was your traveling?
Well, my traveling, I mean, obviously it was kind of undramatic in the flights. I had a weirdo staring at me on the first flight, and then I was sitting next to a very large lady who was kind of like taking half of my seat, and she was sleeping upright, snoring the whole flight. So that's how we ended up in New Zealand.
Oh God, this is like
Shout out to the lady. Well, anywho, she had a
Keep your
mullet
style.
too.
this is one of the worst feelings, isn't it?
I know. It's like I was sitting like this, because I was on the aisle seat, and she was in the middle, and then she was kind of like just like that because she was so big, she couldn't really fit, and I was sitting like this, and the flight was, I think it was like 14 hours or something like that.
Or
So-
that's or
yeah, that's an or nor, yeah, no, but I just sat there and smiled and watched movies, so it was fine.
Can I just flex? I had 5-seater all to myself.
Oh my gosh. Well, I didn't.
I
no.
had to fight for the visa. You didn't, so
True. So that's fair. No, but when I did arrive to Auckland, it was early in the morning, and my great and late uncle Benny and his wife Sue, they were waiting for me at the airport actually to pick me up, and so they did, and it was amazing though. I mean, it was the best welcome. We went straight for breakfast, and then they drove me down to Gisborne. So I actually spent my first night in Gisborne, New Zealand, because they loved it there, and so we stayed at a motel, and they kind of just went there, and we went for lunch, and then they said, you know what, we're just gonna give you your space. You need to do, just chill, relax, get some sleep, and we'll meet you for dinner. So that was really nice, a good, nice first day. And then the next day we did a little sightseeing around Gisborne, and then we drove from Gisborne down to Hastings, where I was gonna spend the rest of my year, I thought. But I
It
mean,
would be such a mistake if you would.
absolutely. I mean,
There's so much to
I don't
see.
regret anything at all. I mean, and it was a great week that I had there. It was all good. But yeah, no, they drove me down to Wellington a week later, and I had just I went to an internet cafe, and I booked a stay at the Wellywood hostel in Wellington, because Wellington is known for the filming of movies.
Yeah.
So
So is Oakland.
yeah, but then there's Wellywood.
Oh God.
The Wellywood sign and everything. Anywho, so I stayed at the hostel I was in the long-term ward, and I was there for, I think it was like maybe 3 weeks or so. And then I moved in with, I mean, okay, so I had just been in, Ireland. So there I was, still in love with Ireland. And I went to Norway, and then I moved to New Zealand, right? So, but in my head, I'm still like, I'm in love with Ireland. And so there was a lot of Irish in the hostel. Doesn't matter. But I found this Irish pub, JJ Murphy's. Oh my gosh. I mean, I lived there in JJ Murphy's. I mean, I loved it. And I ended up moving in with the bartenders because I was staying in the hostel, but I was spending all my time in the Irish pub, because I mean, the scene was
It was
amazing.
part of you.
It was part of me.
Yeah.
And then they had a gorgeous bartender called Chris. Oh my god! So I had to stick around. But then, the guys were like, "So you're here all the time? We have a spare.
What do you want?
But we have a spare room in our apartment. Someone's moving out. Like, do you want to move in?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do."
So did you live with men again?
Well, I did, yes, and also, well, in the hostel, I met my best friend Sarah, my sister from another mister. We shared the same dorm. This was just before I went to the long-term room. We shared the same dorm, and I was trying to take a nap, and she came up and she was talking to me while I was napping, and she just would not shut up. Like, we've told this story many times, so she's aware, like, that's the best interrupted nap I've ever had. But yeah, no, she just wouldn't shut up. And so I was like, fine, me and some people are going out tonight, want to join. And then the rest is history, like, we're best friends. But we were hanging out at this pub, so both of us actually got a room in that apartment. So I stayed with her, and then the guys with it. So Andy, Badger.
Yeah, right.
Shout outs to you. Good funsies. Yeah. But I mean, we have talked a lot about how we got to New Zealand, why we got to New Zealand, but I think there's enough to go for another episode on this one. So
Absolutely. It's a lot to talk about.
it's a lot to talk
Then
about.
we're going to talk about actual New Zealand, though. Because now...
I mean, yeah, New Zealand and experiences, but yes.
And jobs.
And jobs, yes, because, you need that as well when you live there. You can't just have all fun. But
it was fun anyway, the jobs and stuff.
Well, yeah, it was.
I was working in the film industry.
And I was in the fashion industry. Well, there you go. So
And I was working with kiwis.
And I was working...
Actual kiwis.
What? So,
Like the actual
the
fruit.
birds?
No, the fruit.
Oh, the fruit. That's a kiwi bird. Yeah, no. Well, I was working with kiwis, as in people.
People, because they're called kiwis.
Yes.
I was cleaning toilets.
Oh, no, I was selling clothes. Yeah, so. Okay.
Well, so we got a lot to say.
We're going to get to that, but let's wrap it up for this time. It was amazing. I mean, 40 minutes just flies by like crazy.
Yeah, it's super fast.
We could go on forever.
And we will. Oh my...
Samesies.
Finally, we got to do this.
In Sweden, we would call it Smurf.
Yeah, for those who are just listening and not actually watching the video, we've got our special faces that we do, and we were thinking like, hey, we have to do it, and we finally did it. So again, if you would like to see it, you have to go and watch it on YouTube.
Yes. There's the YouTube, and then there's the Spotify, and also if you don't follow us on Instagram yet, then please do, because we're gonna share the episodes that we put out. Well, not gonna share the episodes, but we're gonna share the links to the episodes in case you're struggling to find it. But don't forget to click on follow on Spotify, and then also subscribe on YouTube.
Thank you. And also follow us on Instagram, Monelli Talks, all one word. And also you will find us under Monelli Talks, all one word on Spotify, and the same thing on YouTube.
Yes.
And also it's important is all one word. Not like that.
Yes, and skip the dots.
Skip the dots.
Skip the dots,
it's
yeah.
Monelli Talks, all one word, because if you go onto YouTube, most likely it will come up under Money Talks.
No, you get that on Spotify as well. You get Money Talks
do?
there as well, yeah.
Yeah, that's not us.
No.
Monelli
Eventually we will
Talks.
be, but right now, no.
Yeah. But yes, we will see you next time.
Yeah.
And we will
And I hope you will see us.
yeah.
So yeah. And that's going to be in 2 weeks from now.
Yes, as we said, it's going to be every other week. We're going to
Yeah. Because we have jobs on the side.
Unfortunately. For now.
For now.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. So thank you all for tuning in. It's been a pleasure, and yeah.
Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.